delighted to welcome you on stage. You're about in for a really big treat. Rory O'Neill.
Hi guys. Just a little bit about my background. I've spent the last 25 years in the energy sector with some deviations into shipping and technology. But I've been active in blockchain and building proof of concepts, particularly around physical infrastructure since late 2015. So it's an area that I'm quite familiar with it. So I just want to talk a little bit about, Paul did a great introduction earlier about CASPA and KI and what the CASPA Industrial Initiative is. So I just want to recap a little bit about that. And today is actually a really exciting journey. It's not just for CASPA and the CASPA Industrial Initiative, but it's for us who are passionate about shaping the future of technology and enterprise. So let me start by introducing CASPA and KII. And effectively, we're a group of people who come from industry. And we were searching for a DLT solution for several years to adopt for our explicit needs. And like I say, we were practicing and building and everything else. And nothing really quite fit. We couldn't scale properly, or something was played by a centralized authority, or there was all sorts of problems. And we almost abandoned it for a little while. And then Paul was talking about building an organization called Zeta for carbon credits. And that prompted a re-examination of where we were and where we'd gotten to with DLT. So we started looking, and we found that CASPA met a wide variety of criteria. And ultimately, we found CASPA, and we were blown away by its potential. And it ticked every single metric in our really extensive evaluation rubric. And from then on, we were hooked. So right now, the CASPA Industrial Initiative Foundation is established in the Czech Republic. However, we're making active plans to relocate it in the near future to the Netherlands for the main foundation, with satellite companies in Malta, UAE, Singapore, and other markets. And we're doing that in cooperation with our friends in DII and Zeta. So as an industrial initiative, we're a bridge or a market enabler that connects the groundbreaking innovation of CASPA's block DAG technology with the practical needs of modern business. So essentially, we're a catalyst. We want to drive the adoption of decentralized solutions to address challenges that businesses face today, or businesses where we can actually completely transform them. Some businesses that are actually, in some cases, thousands of years old, believe it or not. And we're going to talk about one really interesting use case later on. So we want to be part of the CASPA ecosystem as a builder and foster collaboration and facilitate an environment where innovators, businesses, and communities come together to create real-world solutions powered by CASPA. And where we can do that, we'll contribute to the overall system, such as assisting in smart contract ecosystem development so that the smart contracts that are being developed are relevant to business and industry. And we know that one of the great things about being in the energy sector is that you have to have a lot of patience. You also can't be pessimistic about anything, because if you look at any of the news anywhere, you see how long it takes to build a power line or a power station or any big piece of infrastructure. It takes a long time. So as a group of people, we're patient, but we understand the complexities that go into actually developing something before it can actually come to the market. So in saying that, Rome, as they say, wasn't built in a day. but we're going to make sure that KAI, that our contributions to the core underlying infrastructure are meaningful and will endure and be innovative. So, Caspian Enterprise. This is its inaugural event. And what we want it to be is an annual event. So we're going to come together every year and talk about what we're doing in terms of talking to the community generally and the business community generally and publicly about what we're doing. And this conference marks the beginning of a tradition where we provide major updates to the community, showcase advancements, and explore new horizons. So throughout the year, we're going to host smaller industry-facing events and partner meetings. Most of them will be closed door, unfortunately. But I'm excited to announce that we will have some very significant upcoming business-focused closed meetings that will be held directly with industry leaders in Vienna in October, one of which will be at the Global Energy Leadership Summit held in Liechtenstein Palace in Vienna with our friends in DII, and then at the World Energy Summit in Abu Dhabi in January 2025. So, as a market facilitator, our mission is quite clear. We want to drive enterprise-grade applications to Caspia, focusing on and for businesses, we want to focus on showcasing Caspia's real-world potential in key industries like finance, energy, logistics, carbon trading, sectors that are completely ripe for innovation and in need of secure, transparent, efficient solutions. And what we want to do then is provide businesses with the support they need by offering resources, expertise, and guidance to seamlessly integrate all this really, really cool Caspia technology into existing operations, or in some cases into brand new emerging industries, and unlock their full potential. But technology is only as powerful as the impact it makes on people, and we believe in inclusive innovation. So what we want to do is make the technology accessible, understandable, usable by businesses, so that it doesn't matter, because it's a completely decentralized system. It's built, it's out there, it's global. So regardless of geography, regardless of politics, regardless of anything, it's a decentralized, censorship-resistant platform, and we want to utilize those benefits and build upon that. So, one of the things I want to get out of the way up front, because everybody is going to start talking about this, is the energy narrative relating to proof of work. And it's often misunderstood. Yes, proof of work requires energy, but I think it's really time that we reframe this narrative and recognize its potential to be a catalyst for a cleaner, more sustainable future. So imagine a world where the vast potential of renewable energy is fully realized, where excess wind and solar in remote regions isn't wasted. And that's the promise of digital energy. And by harnessing stranded energy resources to power the Caspia network through proof of work mining, we can reshape the energy narrative. So when people talk about blockchain and its energy usage, the conversation often focuses on sort of big, bold headlines in news media that talk about how much power proof of work systems like Bitcoin consume. And you've probably heard lots of these, that these blockchains use as much energy as entire countries, and it can sound really, really shocking. But what all of these headlines and misconceptions do is it just misses all the context. So just put it into, let's just consider this for a second. Consider industries like global shipping, aviation, data centers, powering companies like Google and Amazon, even household appliances like clothes dryers. They consume vast amounts of energy. seasonal decorations like Christmas lights, emissions from cruise ships, they're all accepted as a part of modern life. And the same should go for blockchain, but blockchain with the right purpose. So many of the discussions around blockchain's energy usage sensationalize the issue for attention or for political reasons. And they often overlook how much progress has been made to improve energy efficiency in proof-of-work systems and ignore the benefits that come from using the tech. So one of the things that we want to do within KAI, because we come from an energy background, we understand energy economics and energy systems, is we want to propose a different perspective. And instead of looking at proof-of-work's energy as wasteful, we see it as an opportunity. We can use the energy that's going unused, like excess solar or wind from remote areas, and turn it into something valuable, digital energy. So what is digital energy? So digital energy is created when unused physical energy like excess wind or solar are converted into digital assets through proof-of-work mining. So in a way, we're effectively transforming electrons into bits. And energy that normally otherwise would be wasted is turned into a secure, intrinsically valuable digital form, something that can be used and traded worldwide. So here's how it works. So we want to work with our industry partners, and we're already doing and starting this. We want to find energy sources like wind, solar, hydro that aren't being used because they're far or remote from big cities or power grids. Use this energy to power proof-of-work mining systems, which will help secure the Kaspa network, make it even more decentralized, and create digital assets. So these digital assets, because they've been created by energy, they have an intrinsic value. And then they can be accessed and traded globally, giving value to energy that would otherwise have been wasted. And by converting this stranded energy into digital energy, we're not only preventing waste, but we're also creating a new avenue for economic growth and inclusion. So, energy as an investment in security and value. The energy that's used in the proof-of-work mining isn't just a cost. It actually represents an investment in the security and the integrity of the network. It's what makes these networks so strong, so hacker-proof, so immutable, so invulnerable to attack, because the cost of an attack vector becomes just absolutely astronomical. So, in terms of security, just like mining gold, it's very energy intensive to mine. But that energy intensity in terms of mining it gives gold its value. The energy used in Kaspa's proof of work makes the network secure, valuable, and resistant to manipulation. More energy means more security, making it harder and more expensive for anybody to try and attack the network. And then miners have a vested interest in the network's success, creating a self-reinforcing cycle of security and value creation. Have we moved on to the next slide? So, what we want to do is, as KAI, we want to encourage the use of renewable energy and the shift towards a zero-carbon society. And proof-of-work systems like Kaspa can actually help promote the development of renewable energy, which you must harness more effectively as a society. So there's many, many areas all around the world where there's unbelievable amounts of renewable resources. The problem is, it's not near anything. There's no physical grid to connect it to. There's no pipelines to connect it to. There's nothing there. If you take Mongolia, for example, there's literally nothing to connect it to. Yet it has the best horizontal ionizing radiation on the planet. it's more energy abundant than Saudi Arabia. You could power all of Asia from solar from Mongolia, but there's nothing to connect it to. So in these areas where there's an abundance of renewable resources, we can set up mining operations and create a market for energy, driving investment and supporting new renewable energy projects. And eventually the grid will catch up. But then in other areas, mining crypto is also flexible. So it can happen wherever energy is most available and affordable. So it can also help to balance out energy grids by using up excess power when renewable sources produce too much. It also creates another revenue stream for mining investors. And then in terms of turning stranded energy into digital energy, it has big benefits for communities, especially in remote and underprivileged areas. So one, it provides local communities with opportunities to turn renewable resources into income. It opens doors to a global digital economy. It promotes financial inclusion. It promotes technological growth and brings more opportunities to these regions, all the while reinforcing the overall Kaspa network. So I'd like to address some more of the environmental concerns very briefly, because I want to get past this and move on to some of the really cool stuff. So yes, it's true, proof of work uses energy, but the technologies involving Kaspa is working to make proof of energy more efficient. The incredible innovations with the consensus algorithm and the K-heavy hash algorithm have made mining and the processing of the transactions much more efficient. And more mining operations are starting to use renewable energy. And they're looking at really creative ways of repurposing heat from mining to heat or do district heating systems and to ensure overall energy efficiency and thus boosting the circular economy. So what's our role in unlocking this stranded renewable energy? So at KAI, because of our sort of inherent love of energy and the transition to the new net zero energy economy, we want to unlock some of this potential and some of this stranded energy and turn it into digital energy. So one initiative that we're actively working on is we're working with our industry partners to create a database of projects that we know exist, that are build ready, but undeveloped. Solar, wind, lots and lots of different projects, zero emission and low emission projects, and identify regions with renewable energy that isn't being used, like remote solar and wind projects. And there's a large number of these projects out there, and they've been stranded for various different reasons, usually because the grid never showed up. It was a case of build it, but literally nothing showed up. And so there's been many millions of sunk investment costs and development costs for these projects, but there's literally nothing for them to connect to, or the economics have shifted, or the political winds have changed. So what we want to do is, through KAI and our bigger partner network, is to partner with governments, energy companies, to develop mining operations to utilize these resources. So the utilities can invest in these projects and actually get a better return by connecting them to miners. And then you think, well, what about the data? Well, we can use Starlinks, or we can run fiber. Fiber is a lot cheaper to build out than power cables, that's for sure. So there's a large number of these build-ready projects all around the world, and our view is we want to try and unlock them. So one of the other things that we're really keen on doing in terms of promoting Kaspa is to ensure that there's a responsible and regulated ecosystem. So we understand that the success of any new technology, especially in the world of finance, depends on trust, transparency, and a robust regulatory framework. So we're not working in KII in a vacuum. You know, we're working with the development team and our other partners, and we want to build something for the world, which means working collaboratively with regulators, institutions, and the global community to ensure it's adopted responsibly, and it's grown and rolled out sustainably. So a big part of what we want to do is to build bridges with regulators and institutions. So we're going to take that very proactively and take a very proactive approach to regulatory compliance. We want to avoid any of these sensationalized headlines where there's been big investigations by X, Y, and Z into X, Y, and Z project for doing all sorts of weird and crazy things. So from the very outset, we're forming regulatory working groups, and we're actively engaging with regulatory bodies worldwide to navigate this really super complex set of blockchain regulations and advocate for policies that foster innovation and ensure a really smooth path to global adoption. Something else that we're really keen on doing is establishing a program for certified or trusted CASPA applications, particularly for business and enterprise usage. So we're looking at creating a certification process. And we're going to talk about this a little bit later on. Bara will talk about this later on in a different context. But we want to create a process to identify and promote secure, vetted applications on CASPA that meet the highest standards of quality and security. And this initiative will provide businesses and users with the confidence that they need to embrace CASPA's technology, which may actually include a new standard, which we're considering calling KRC 20T, with the T standing for trusted. The next thing is we want to collaborate with regulators and institutions to participate in regulatory sandboxes, to test and refine our solutions in controlled environments to ensure that they meet all the requirements and are ready for real-world deployment. So we believe collaboration is key. It worked extraordinarily well over the last 14 years in promoting renewable energy and bringing solar from something that was the most expensive to and considered niche and almost uninvestable to now the cheapest source of energy on the planet. So collaboration is the key to unlocking all of this, and so that's why we will be hosting a lot of regular roundtable discussions with industry leaders, policymakers, and experts from around the globe. And what we're bringing is, to these platforms is a driving voice in support of CASPA, in promoting CASPA at these regulatory forums, sharing knowledge and best practices, identifying the challenges and opportunities, which we can then feed back into industry, and then try and help shape the future of digital ledger technology and blockchain regulation together in a collaborative way. So we believe with a solid regulatory framework, we're ready to showcase some really historic achievements that demonstrate CASPA's unparalleled capabilities and set the stage for future innovations. So before we delve into, I keep on saying we're going to delve into the cool stuff. It really is cool. I just want to highlight a really important recent achievement in the CASPA ecosystem. So just 9 days ago, CASPA hit a major milestone. So CASPA is an open permissionless network. And a group called Casplex launched a system called KRC20, which is a way of minting tokens on the CASPA mainnet. And it's just mind-blowing. In the first 24 hours, CASPA processed over 13 million transactions. In fact, it might even be more than that. Sorry? 15 million transactions. So to give you an idea of how significant that is, that's 10 times the daily transaction, the average daily transaction volume of Ethereum, which is a record-breaking event for any proof-of-work system or blockchain in general. Kaspa has this unprecedented scalability because of the work and the technology that Shai and Michael were talking about. And to put this further into perspective, in just 8 hours, 9 days ago, Kaspa handled more transactions than on an average week, Bitcoin and Ethereum do combined. And that just highlights the incredible scalability of the Kaspa network. And so with the Crescendo hard fork that Michael referred to, Kaspa's network is set to handle even more transactions. So after this upgrade, and we're not allowed to ask when questions, but we know it's coming soon. Kaspa can expect to process up to 250 million, i.e. 250 million transactions every day without breaking a sweat. And whilst this is a projection based on the current growth, it's realistic thanks to Kaspa's unique technology and block DAG architecture. So this will represent a 1,000% increase in block speed from its current levels. It's already been run and proven on the testnet, and it demonstrates a level of performance that no other proof-of-work system has achieved, and pretty much no other crypto has achieved. So I don't really want to do a contrast with other blockchains because Kaspa stands on its own merits, but just this once, we will. So other cryptos like Ethereum are often praised for decentralization and security. However, a recent study was published that shows that over 90% of the blocks in Ethereum are produced by just 3 major builders. And that raises a lot of concerns about the network's decentralization. So the number two blockchain in the world is highly centralized. 90% of the blocks produced by 3 major builders. But Kaspa is different. It's dedicated to true decentralization. The network architecture and consensus mechanisms are designed to prevent such centralization and ensuring that power isn't concentrated into the hands of the few. And we also see similar power concentration happening in some respects in Bitcoin. But we're not going to talk about other projects. But let's talk a little bit about KRC-20. Like I say, 9 days old. And what's it achieved? So in 9 days, we've had rapid adoption and incredible success with the KRC-20 token launch. And it just shows how quickly the Kaspa ecosystem is growing. And this is just completely mind-blowing to me because the top 3 KRC tokens have already reached, in just 9 days, a combined market cap of nearly $80 million, proving the strength of projects built on Kaspa and the community that's there behind it. So for us, as the Kaspa Industrial Initiative, we really do believe, and it's been proven by the guys, that Kaspa is the alpha layer 1 digital DLT. It's not just keeping pace with industry standards, it's literally setting new ones. The Kaspa network has proven that high throughput security, high throughput, security and decentralization can all coexist within a proof of work framework. And building on this momentum, we're really excited to introduce some initiatives that will bridge Kaspa to the global financial system and will redefine how businesses can interact with finance and energy and some other sectors.